Up next, we do have a recording of the game getting randomly picked for me to play, so let's spin that right now.
2, 1, spin. What's it gonna be? It could be anything. What's in there? Windjammers 2.
So, this is the sequel to the first Windjammers game. If you don't know what that is, it's a classic on the Neo Geo arcade system and one of my favorites of all time. I used to play it at parties at my house. I have it on a multi-card on my Neo Geo and I would wreck absolute face at this game. Now, I was surprised that .emu decided to make a sequel to this game. If you don't know who they are, they're the developers that did Shredder's Revenge, which is the modern update of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, and Streets of Rage 4, the sequel to the classic beat-em-up series from the Genesis. It's really cool they're taking all these classic franchises and bringing out sequels to them. So let me tell you about the story of Windjammers. So a bunch of people from the 90s are transported to the beaches of World War II, and before the Allied invasion at Normandy, the French and Germans have to battle it out in a Frisbee trademark competition while Ava Braun referees from the sidelines in a thong. Obviously, I just made all that crap up. This game is a mixture of Street Fighter and Pong. And as far as I can tell, with the exception of a few mechanics, this game plays exactly like the freaking first game. It works the same way. There's no difference. There are combos, cancels, special attacks. You throw frisbees past your opponent into these score areas of the net, and the first person to 15 points wins the round. Best of 3 rounds wins the match. Now, this is pretty much more or less a one-button game. The same button that you use to throw is the same button you use to dash. And you basically dash to the location of the frisbee really quickly, then input the command you want to do to throw it, right? Throw it at an angle, throw it straight ahead, do some super attack, whatever. But because it's an arcade game, you're dashing around, you're trying to like throw the frisbee as soon as you can once you catch it. Sometimes you end up getting there a little early. Instead of throwing, you dash out of the way and the frisbee falls to the ground. That sort of thing, that happens all the time. But you do get the hang of this before too long. But let me tell you something about this game. Windjammers is best played when you're playing it with friends and neither one of you really know all the mechanics of the game. When you're just button mashing and having a good time, that's when Windjammers is at its best. The enemy and the AI of Windjammers 1 and 2 are ruthless. Let me tell you about the first game. So in Windjammers 1, I beat it on easy, I beat it on normal, I jumped in on hard and could not beat the first match. And that game had been out a couple of years at that point on the PS4 re-release, which is where I was playing it in this case. I checked, and at the time, 2 years after release, not one person in the entire world had unlocked the trophy for beating Windjammers 1 on the hard difficulty. Not one person. It had a 0.0% trophy unlock rate. That's insane. That is extremely unbalanced. Now, that's an arcade game designed to steal your money. I get it, but I don't understand why .emu, the developers of this, brought back that draconian and unnecessarily hard difficulty on a game that's a home console version of the game. I don't get that, man. Let me play it on a harder difficulty because on easy and normal, it's not that hard. I beat it on easy on my first try and on normal after just a few. I want to play it on that harder difficulty, but it's just so much harder. It's like 10 times harder than normal. Now, I know there's online play in this, but you're playing against other people. Make the single player experience a little bit more forgiving. And on top of that, the original game was an arcade game. If you lose, you just punch another quarter into the machine and keep going. This has limited credits. You get 1 credit to try to beat the entire freaking game. You can earn an extra credit to carry over, but like you have to play through the game like 1.5 times to earn enough points to earn an extra credit, which means the game wants you to like be able to beat it already to earn more credits to work on it later in the future. I don't get that. What system is that? That doesn't make any sense. Make it so that for every hour of gameplay, you unlock an additional credit and you max out at like 10 credits after playing the game for 10 hours. So that gives you something to strive towards and a way for beginners to the series to have an opportunity to practice the freaking game without already being an expert at it. So you have a fairly large cast of characters you can play as in this game, and they're balanced between speed and strength. And let me tell you, there's no reason to pick anyone in this game that isn't like the top speed character or the top strength character. There's no reason to go in the middle. because once you encounter the top speed character or you encounter the top freaking strength character, they're just gonna annihilate you. You need to have some stat that is better than whoever you're playing against, or at least as good. So just pick the woman who's the fastest or the dude that's the strongest, and it'll make the game a lot easier. They didn't really balance the speed of this. They didn't really balance the difficulty of this, and I kind of don't like that. And just getting the frisbee by your opponent is extremely hard in this. Like, they are ruthless. They will dash, they will block your special attacks, they'll counter them, they'll do everything they can, and it's just hard to score in this game. It's just really hard to score, and it can drag the games on to the point where most of the matches end due to timing out. And this game has blackjack rules, so if there's a tie, the CPU wins, which is not fair. I don't like that. I feel like a tie should go to the player. Wait, is that how blackjack works? No, in blackjack, if you tie, it goes to the player. Well, this is harder than blackjack then. When they released the original Windjammers on the PlayStation 4, they used the original Neo Geo graphics and it looked fantastic. The Neo Geo was a powerhouse of graphics and all those games looked incredible. .emu, when they put out the sequel, they gave it this sort of like, I don't know, bubbly sort of amateurish looking hand-drawn art, which is reminiscent of the way that Shredder's Revenge and Streets of Rage 4 looked, but not as much. They knew this was not going to be as big a hit as those games. It's a Neo Geo game after all, guys. It just kind of looks, like I said, cheap and amateurish. The cutscenes look pretty bad. The gameplay looks okay. It has like a cartoony look to it, and it's right in line with their other games, like I said, but I would have preferred the pixel graphics to be maintained. The music is good. It has some like early 90s influenced hip-hop tracks in it that I enjoyed, and the rest of it's kind of upbeat and fun, but it's pretty forgettable. But what is the conclusion of this? What is my conclusion to this game? Well, it just struggles with balance. That's the problem with this. The opponents are not evenly scaled. You'll struggle against one opponent like crazy, like it'll take you 15 tries to beat them, and then you'll 2-0 the next 3 without them scoring on you at all. And then you can't score a single point on the next guy, and it steals all your credits. And it feels like it's a lot more random than it should be. It should scale harder and harder to each match, but it doesn't feel that way. I'm sure this is a lot more fun playing with people online. I'm not gonna do that. My freaking PlayStation isn't even connected. I don't even have PlayStation Plus. So the first Windjammers is my favorite Neo Geo game, I think. I really enjoyed it on the PS4. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun playing with friends. But Windjammers 2 is just not .emu's best showing. It feels like almost exactly like the first game, but it's more unbalanced, it's a little more finicky, and it doesn't look as good. Just play the original on the PlayStation 4 or bust out a couple $1,000s to buy it on the Neo Geo. So sadly, Windjammers 2, guys, just a 6 out of 10.